Welcome to Transit TLDR, where we watch the MTA board meetings so you don't have to. Here's what you missed at last week's joint board and committee meetings. First, CEO and board chair Jano LIRR starts the meeting with confirmation that the LIRR strike is over. He shouts out everyone who negotiated on both sides, Governor Hochul for being his BFF, and the LIRR team for smoothly resuming operations by Tuesday afternoon. Next, there's some good news from Washington.
Words you have not often heard me utter.
Since the last meeting, the feds finally reimbursed the MTA over $500 million for COVID costs. They unfroze $60 million owed for the Second Avenue subway project. Senator Gillibrand fought to secure more federal funding with real deadlines for payment, so hopefully they don't get randomly frozen by Trump again. And then lastly, after a 16-month delay, the MTA finally received $156 million in grant money they were awarded to make more subway stations in the Bronx ADA compliant. And speaking of accessibility, since the last meeting, a new ramp has been installed at Harlem at 148th Street. ADA improvements are also coming to 125th and Broadway thanks to a public-private partnership with Columbia University. There's also been an ACE expansion recently to more bus routes, including the Q10 to JFK. Remember, these automated camera enforcement measures are meant to keep drivers from blocking the bus lanes, and Jano says they're working, since fewer drivers are becoming repeat offenders. He also teases a big new bus report coming out from the city and the MTA, and we're really excited for this. If they tell me a specific date, I'd camp out outside City Hall like I would if there were a midnight release of a new Twilight book. That's all from Jano, so now we start the committee meetings, with the Joint Railroad Committee up first. Rob Free from the Long Island Railroad starts by thanking everyone for their diligence in strike negotiation. He also gives us some information about the electrical fire at Penn Station a few weeks ago that disrupted service for days, revealing that the fire was caused by a new Amtrak train, which had a hanging panel make contact with the third rail. Then we got some Metro North performance updates and an announcement that construction has started in Connecticut on the Waterbury line to make major upgrades on 4 of the stations. Moving on to the New York City Transit Committee update, where President Demetrius Critchlow thanks his employees who helped service shuttle buses during the LIRR strike. Paratransit continues to break its own ridership records, with a new monthly record set in March, a new weekday record set in April, and an all-time single-day record set in May. As the days get warmer, Demetrius reminds New Yorkers that the best way to get to the beach is by public transit. Buses to Reeds Beach and Orchard Beach are now in service for the summer, as is the extended Rockaway Shuttle, where
the water is just a flip-flop walk away.
They've also been working behind the scenes to ensure they're as ready as possible for any extreme weather conditions over the summer. So they're working on faster water pumping capacity in the event of subway tunnel flooding and upgrading power sources to handle higher temperatures throughout the system without shutting it down. In the world of buses, Demetrius says the bus team has also worked hard all year to deliver cooler commutes for riders in the hotter months, with new maintenance standards for quality control, so we'll see. Lastly, he reminds us about the previously discussed service improvements for riders on the 2, 3, 4, and 5 trains. They've made some schedule adjustments to accommodate peak hours and hopefully keep headways consistent and quick. And then Stephen Moriello from the NYPD gives an update on crime in the transit system. Last month, the subway system saw 176 crimes, up 2.9% from last April, which had 171 crimes. Moriello says that while they are of course continually striving for crime reductions, it's important to note that last year's numbers were at historic lows, so still not too shabby here. Next, we go to the Bridges and Tunnels Committee, where Kathy Sheridan shares their efforts to prepare for heat-related weather emergencies this summer. And then it's the Capital Program Committee. Jamie Torres Springer gives updates on major projects, including weekend work on the 7 train. He previews a funding request he plans to make for design work for state of good repair improvements at the Met's Willets Point station. The design work would be done by Queens Future, a joint venture between the Mets owner Steve Cohen and Hard Rock Entertainment. Since today's a joint committee and board meeting, he didn't take too long explaining this, but he said a full presentation will be on the way in a future meeting. Lastly, we go to Jay Patel for the Finance Committee report. Most notably here for riders, she talks about refunds for monthly LIRR ticket holders for the strike days. If you bought a monthly ticket through the Train Time app or by using a transit benefits card, your prorated refund will be automatically issued by June 30th. If you bought your ticket at a booth or a vending machine, you'll have to apply for the refund online. And then they voted on the board stuff they usually vote on.
And that's what you missed on Glee.